Yeah, I will. What do you get when you wake up or something? I don't know. Do your thing.
I was actually going to say, but first, in this video, you have to call yourself out, and I think you just have.
Will, you little shit. Find a job.
Anyway, more important things to talk about. So for Christmas, I gave my wife an alarm clock that swears instead of beeping. What will happen when she uses it?
She'll wake up. I don't know. She's
in for a rude awakening.
Okay. Chomp.
Does that apple enhance life, Will?
Pardon?
Does that apple enhance life?
Yes.
Is it a
It's giving me the
meal?
sustenance. Oh, hell yeah. Oh, an apple a day keeps the, no, never mind.
Anyway, hello and welcome to the next Worst Classic Who, which is The Awakening, which was one that was not originally on the list, but it was suggested by Joey Morgan because he says it's a terrible story. But the thing is that he likes Warriors of the Deep, so I don't know whether or not to trust him.
Yeah, there are a weird amount of people who hate The Awakening.
Yeah, there's like this weird group of people that just think The Awakening's terrible, and I've never seen it. And then there's another group of people that are like, hang on a second, no, it's quite good.
I finally understand now, because everyone is always like banging on about how it's weird that the Gunfighters and The Awakening are in a DVD box set together, but both of them are weirdly hated by large groups of people. That's why.
The Gunfighters is beautiful. I love the Gunfighters to death. That's a great story.
Gunfighters is beautiful. Gunfighters is beautiful, but for some reason there are many people who hate it. I must confess, even I hated it when I first saw it as a kid, but I have become enlightened since then. I now think it's
How could you possibly hate William Hartnell going to the dentist?
Good question. I can't understand in retrospect.
It's one of the only... I think it's the only story where Dodo is actually quite good. Rest in peace, Jack.
Probably, yeah.
Anyway, we're talking about The Awakening, which is the other story in that set. Spoiler warning, we like to talk about Doctor Who in these videos, especially in the last one, because we don't have much to say about the King's Demons. Leave a comment if you want us to defend against Hellbent. The thing is that we're running out of these videos, so eventually it's just going to fall through, and you're just not going to have any left to comment. So yeah, get going, boys, get going, lads, get going, guys and girls, and brats and Barbie dolls and chameleon.
Ladies and gentlemen,
stuff.
And variations thereon.
Yeah, all of the above, and all of the below, and all of the things that go down below. I don't know what I'm saying.
Fellow homosexuals.
But the one thing that we all have in common is we all have an ass. Or at least I think we do.
Hell yeah.
Shit's gotta go somewhere, and hopefully it's not this story. So, patreon.com/Genesis of Androzani, if you'd like to finance this banter. Great, it's there. Right, The Awakening. Hopefully, I like it more than the last one we did. I didn't hate the King's Demons, but I just thought it was very forgettable. But this one is a Season 21 story, and this is where Peter Davison gets a bit all feisty and angry and wants to, get fisticuffs with people in a more sort of not in a physical sense, but like he gets a bit on edge because the world isn't fair and the universe isn't fair, and I like that. I really like that in Frontiers Resurrection Caves, so hopefully that's what we get here.
Hell yeah. Also, there is a character called Will, and I must approve.
Good. It's also written by a man called Eirich Pringle, which is fascinating.
Yeah, it's way more interesting than anything in the King's Demons.
Good. I'm really looking forward to it. I hope I really like it. I hope it's...
I like it.
A lot better than the King's Demons. But there is a suspicious amount of people that think it's terrible.
Yeah, and I don't trust them. They're probably the same people who think the Crimson Horror is amazing. Who knows?
I think the Crimson Horror's okay.
It's It's alright.
I mean, look, I will say, a lot of that hinges on the fact that most of Series 6 and 7 ends with the power of love, whereas the Crimson Horror ends with Strax shooting someone, and I think that's more interesting.
Yeah.
Like, he just shoots bloody the Queen of Thorns and she falls to her death. And the Doctor looks at it comedically and goes, a woman just died.
He goes, ouch.
It's very Mark Gatiss, isn't it? What if this story was so good that I had to change my channel name to include the title of this story in it?
Well, I mean, as a Russell T Davies stan, I find it quite disturbing that you don't have any Russell T Davies stories in your name. The Genesis of Midnight Zani. The human nature of Andrew... fucking Dalek. I don't know. I tried.
Yeah, well... Troughton has small fingernails and that makes him dead. And he's also ashes and, yeah.
Oh. Anyway, I'm ready when you are.
Let's watch the sandy man get a bit feisty. That's what I want.
Hell yeah.
So this is coming up.
Would it shock you? Yeah. Would it shock you to know that this is actually my favourite version of the theme tune?
That's not that shocking. It's pretty gay.
Yeah, because, like, you know, I'm a big 60s and 70s whore, but my favourite theme tune is the Peter Howell one.
I mean, it's pretty damn good. I don't particularly like how in the Colin Baker era they pitched it weirdly, like in season 22.
Yeah, it sounds a little bit lower, and I don't really like it.
Yeah.
Oh, this lady's costume is an aesthetic. Oh, more horses!
Oh yeah, so what I know about this story is there's a weird face thing, and also it's like a historical in the present day, is what I hear.
The face of Bo's weird brother.
Okay.
It's the face and all.
The direction is already so much better, like by miles.
Yeah. Today is the day where we recorded stories with horses in them. That were two-parters.
Yeah. Maybe they're the same horses. The same horse actors.
So they're being dickheads and charging at this poor woman.
Look, I don't know how to explain this, but I already like this more than the King's Demons, and it's only been like 1 minute.
God, there's so much more life in this story. Mm-hmm. Oh, this is where the chameleon scene would take place. Like, Tegan would just be in the cupboard with chameleon.
Oh, Tegan's wearing the same shirt.
Yeah, but her hair has grown out.
But Davis's hair's gotten
shorter.
Oh yeah,
this is one of the stories where we visit another member of Tegan's family. Because they just mentioned it. It's like, oh, we're going to see your grandfather, Tegan.
I see. Because they visited her
so
cousin in Arc of Infinity, and they had Aunt Vanessa in Legopolis.
Yeah. So that probably makes Tegan the most domestically documented companion in Classic Who.
What about Ace?
Ace, I mean, we sort of see her grandmother in Curse of Eirich, I guess.
Intriguing.
The story immediately thrusts you into a thing.
I'm so much more happy than I was the last time. Like, this is actual Classic Who. That guy looks like Mark Hamill.
What was that? A ghost.
Ah, I see.
Oh no, the wall is vaping.
I think I know what's behind that wall.
Prisoner Zero. Oh, the direction is way better in this story.
Oh my god, this is so much better. This is so much better. I'm really liking this already. Like it's just so enjoyable. Just because the direction's better. That's it. Like it actually the filming actually looks kind of hot. Like it's like really well done. Ooh, that's
Oh
quite
damn, this shot in particular, it's cinematography.
So is this like a history club? Like they go to pretend they're in the past?
Good question.
Like an antiques club, but for like boys and their toys.
Well,
Calm down, Tegan. I'm sure we can sort this out.
oh, for heaven's sake!
Useless, Doctor. You're always useless. You think you could control these people? They're lunatics.
Oh no, not Tegan's purse.
What is going on? Celebration. No more than you are.
Yas, bitch.
How did you... I gather he's disappeared. Good day.
He's so rude now. He's so sassy. Like season 19 Davison would have never done that. He would have been too awkward and shy. He would have been like, oh, mustache.
Oh no, pixels.
I love how we're just like...
Oh, I love
how we're just fanboying over like the fundamentals being done right, you know?
I love the location filming.
Yeah, like I feel like
Just how sunny it looks.
I'm loving this story so much because it does everything the King's Demons does, but so much better, like on a fundamental level. All of
Like
the basic things.
Like this story, it is also a bit inconsequential, but it's just
I don't
better
care,
than
though.
the King's Demons.
I don't care though. It's so enjoyable.
Yeah.
I'll come with you.
Oh, even this shot. It's not flat. It's like dynamic and
I do really like this concept though. It's
yes.
it's like an antiques boys club where they try and pretend they're from the past and do things in like traditional fashion. I quite like this idea. It's really weird, but I like it. It's something that probably exists too.
I visited a place like it on a school trip, actually. We went there and it was like Tudor times. And we had to like bring a packed lunch that was
Whoa.
reminiscent of Tudor times.
Oh wow.
My hands are...
Show me.
He's my favourite character in this story.
He even looks like you a bit.
It's a priest, though, isn't
A
it?
little bit.
Oh, if
Like
you
we need
fight
grey
it-
hair out.
Yeah. Because right now it's shaved.
Year 1643.
Ah. This is a timey-wimey story. I like that. And it comes from a crack in a wall, Moffat, you hack. Stealing more ideas. Just like how you stole the first finale you did from Terminus. It's you.
Ooh, woo! It's a character called Will. You rarely get that in Doctor Who. Hugh agrees he should have been a companion.
Wow. So this is like hardcore tradition. Like they're actually role-playing.
Yeah.
It's actually quite a toxic thing they're doing. Like it's not just for play. Like they are serious. Like they want to be these people.
This story is so inconsequential, and yet it has two great potential companions. Like this lady and this kid.
As is the fact your grandfather has disappeared, I think it's time I sought some answers.
Where?
Ah, tying into Kinder.
The village.
Adric's rolling in his grave right now. You useless fool. Oh, guys, the Fifth Doctor is great. He's so underrated. Especially in this season. He's so good in this season. I love him.
Oh no, the pixels are invading.
Oh no. They're getting hacked by role-playing gamers. Maybe the reason why his face is scruffy is because he's just eaten ass.
Oh. This character is me.
Yeah.
Of course he gets to meet the twink doctor. Should have been a companion.
It shows bloody
I wanna
chameleon
give him a
instead of this guy.
Yeah, I want to give him a supportive hug. So don't be scared. Mean face in the wall can't hurt you.
What is that he's got in his hands?
I think that might be a torch.
Okay.
Oh, the location for me is so good.
Oh, it's gonna look great when they do
giving-
season 21 Blu-ray.
It's giving me like Demons vibes from season 8.
Science, Joe. This role-playing has gone too far, hasn't it?
Enjoy this sort of thing quite so much.
Just obeying orders, Colonel.
That's what they all say.
This lady should have been a companion as well.
Aye, aye. See, I'm not sure if I'm loving this story because it's actually great, or if it's just because it's so much better than The King's Demons. It's one of the two. Maybe it's both.
Yeah. I mean, the craft of the story is just undeniably way better, so...
Oh my god. It's so satisfying to watch this after that.
And I actually remember the characters in this one.
The direction is superb. Like, there's tracking shots, panning shots, zooming shots. It's amazing.
The Doctor has chemistry with people. The TARDIS team we needed. Big Finish spin-off box set here, please.
Change into that.
Why?
Just do as you're told. Unless you want me to do it for you.
Ooh, creepy.
Oh, Jesus.
They stole a handbag and now they're making her change her outfit.
This whole story must be like an allegory for, you know, getting too absorbed in fantasy and escapism, and not actually when reality becomes, what's the word? God, recessive, and the actual role playing and the fantasy and the escapism becomes dominant, and it overrules your life. I feel like that's kind of what they're going for.
What are you doing?
Those are your clothes now.
It's like they love role playing because they can be, you know, misogynist. Because that's how things were in the past.
Yeah, there's themes.
What are you trying to say?
Well, more likely a computer-controlled reconnaissance vehicle.
How silly of me not to know.
Eric Pringle's a funny man. You must feel like personally warm when the Doctor touches that character on the back.
Aww. It's a shame Eric Pringle only wrote one story, because I would cover him in Overlooked Writers, but my my criteria is they have to do more than one story, so...
Should have given him a story to do in season 20 instead of the King's Demons.
Yeah. I've read the novelization of this as well, and it's pretty well done. Like, he's very descriptive in prose.
Ah, here we go.
It's the evil face of Bo.
Oh, wow. Now, that was Doctor Who.
That cliffhanger does make me laugh, to be fair.
We've got some nice,
'Cause
lovely purple text as well.
Jane's cliffhanger scream, just Doctor!
Honestly, I
then
really
the Doctor-
liked that. That was so good.
The Doctor gets steamed in the face.
That is such
As
a
we
unique
watch.
concept. Is like when role playing, you know, this historical context becomes toxic. I never
Yeah.
never in my life would I ever have come up with a concept like this. This is so interesting. And then it ties into an actual, like, I assume it's some kind of crack in time.
Maybe that's why some weird nerds hate it, because they're like, what do you mean role-playing can be toxic? Don't... Don't mock my fantasy.
It's a commentary on them.
They feel personally attacked.
Yeah, and it's set in like a
Jesus.
really cool village, and there was that weird bit where that thing appeared on the top of the stairwell. Things are just coming through, and you got like that weird face thing that we saw at the end. The Doctor's on fire. His two like new like sort of temporary companions, they were really cool. Like Will and what's the lady's name?
Jane.
Yeah, really comedic dialogue. I love the snappiness. I love the like just pompous arrogance of all the role playing men, and like the abusive nature they have. The filming the location filming is beautiful. The direction is dynamic. The score was interesting. It's just I can't believe it. We've gone from like the most mediocre like phoned in Doctor Who story to just absolute delicious magic.
Yeah.
Like this is such an improvement on every level, and I'm loving it.
It's someone actually trying.
I'm loving it. This is what I want out of like a 2-part classic Who story just set in a random village. This is what I want. This is it.
Something that I like about it in the grand context of season 21 as well is that this comes just before like the grimness of Frontios and Resurrection of the Daleks and Caves of Androzani. So it's almost like the calm before the storm in a way.
Yeah.
And it's the refreshing breather we need after shitty Warriors of the Deep. So
Well, if you go with what the intention of Warriors of the Deep was trying to do, it was a very bleak story in terms of intention. The execution was awful, but it tried hard to be something very dark and miserable, and with an ending where everyone dies and there should have been another way. And I think, like you say, it is a nice breather. It does still have some quite cynical themes to it, though. It is quite in its own way. It's a bit nasty, but I like it. This is oh, this is what I'm talking about.
I've got part 2 up, ready to go.
I'm actually kind of sad because I want this to be like a full 4-parter.
Yeah, they dedicated like 4 episodes to shit like Warriors of the Deep, and then like the filler, well, not the filler 2-parter, but like the 2-part one is the actually interesting one with cool potential and concepts. It's a shame, but it's about quality, not quantity, and obviously, in only 2 episodes, this knocks it out of the park.
Yes, and 5E's sass is very appreciated. I love the 5th Doctor in season 21, apart from Warriors of the Deep. But like after this point, he's just amazing.
Tegan and Turlo, they haven't done much so far. Spoilers: Turlo doesn't do much in general, but but that's not too bad.
I mean, the thing is with Turlo is that the Black Guardian trilogy and Frontiers are really the only stories he gets like significant amount to do. I haven't seen Planet of Fire, so I can't comment on that one because I know that's his exit story. But those 4 episodes are the only ones where I really think they actually use Turlo's character properly, whereas the rest of it, he's kind of sidelined.
Yeah. I think Tegan is a bit more active in this second part.
Well, I mean, obviously they've set up that she's basically being abused by that guy.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's quite gripping actually. Like it's quite a bit of tension, despite the fact that it's a bunch of people role playing in a village. Like it should be fun and games, but because of the nastiness of it, and the consequences that come as a result of how how they just think they're top shit because they role play as these people from the past. I quite like the setup. This is what I love in Doctor Who, is when it opens my mind to something I've never thought of before. This is what I watch the show for. So hopefully part 2 is good. Also, I have now definitively made now that I've gotten this far in the marathon, I've definitively made my opinion clear that the Fifth Doctor for me is far like above anything that was made from 2010 onwards, like in terms of Doctor incarnations, whether that be the 11th, the 12th, the 13th, the War Doctor, or the Ruth Doctor. For me, the Fifth Doctor is leagues above them. This has been a long time coming because he used to be at the bottom of my list. I love me some 5e.
Doctor Who got steamed in the face.
Yep. You reckon that bit of celery is now steamed?
I'm pretty sure only the eyes move, and yet even then, it has way better animatronics than Chameleon.
No, Will, come back!
Also, this is a style. Look at that little run. What the hell was that? It's like a. It looked like one of those role-playing characters, but he was covered in like spearmint flavoring.
Oh, this definitely gives me Demons vibes. As a maypole.
Oh yeah, of course. God, this thing is fascinating.
What is it?
I told you, a psychic projection.
Pains me to say it, but I'm sorry I ever doubted you.
We'll learn by our mistakes.
Oh, that's so cute. This is like William Hartnell's costume in The Reign of Terror if it was on The Watcher.
Yeah.
So we've got 2 Philip characters mentioned today. You got the Watcher and you got Chameleon.
It's Tegan's granddad.
Ah.
He's not a major player in the story, but he's just here.
You know what? These two, they're like a softer version of Ten and Donna, if you think about it. Like the way they're interacting.
Yeah.
Like a less sharp version, like a bit more I don't know.
Yeah, because 5e doesn't have 10's ego.
Yeah, not as loud. They're not as loud as Ten and Donna.
Yeah.
But they have a similar dynamic of like the Doctor saying something incredibly nerdy with confidence, the Donna being like, "Well, of course not. You know I don't understand your gobbledygook, Doctor."
Yeah.
I'm not from Mars.
You look charming, my dear. Positively charming.
Jeez, these characters are so hateable.
Can I have
Aren't
my
they?
clothes back, please?
Yeah.
What do you like as a battering ram?
Oh my god, there's actual dialogue. Hooray!
Yeah, there's wit.
Oh Jesus. Is this why, like, you know, nerds in like nerdy incels that play role-playing games at home end up doing the school shootings? Because they're like, they go so insane that they commit actual murder.
Damn. This is thematically deep.
Mm-hmm.
You should tweet that, actually, that the reason why the Gunfighters and the Awakening are in a box set together is because they're both hated for no reason.
Some are more dedicated than others.
This story's cool.
It's so cool, I know.
From the like role-playing allegory to the fact that we see another relative of Tegan, just for more like backstory for her, really.
And the execution as well, like the whole setting and the costumes and the everything. On paper, this story sounds lame as hell, but it's not. It's really good.
Yeah.
Ain't funny, she was screaming.
Well, that's nothing to what Tegan would have done. Come on.
God damn, that score is good.
Like 5e, Tegan, Jane, and Will. That's a TARDIS team we need. I can give or take Turlo.
You only need Turlo if you're going to actually use him properly.
Yeah.
See, I've got so many like conflicted feelings about these people, because on one hand, I love their authentic, just pure passion for recreating this period in history, but I also absolutely despise the fact that they're just rotten people that have lost their minds. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I admire their passion, but I hate the way they go about it. No, we're meant to do it the real way.
Ah, cinematography.
This is gonna look amazing on the Blu-ray.
I want to see the conversation that Tegan and her grandfather have after this. It's just like, and that's just the tip of the iceberg in terms of evils in the universe. Oh, what a great ensemble cast.
They reused the set for Resurrection. I can tell. I recognize it. This exact same set was used for the end of Resurrection of the Daleks when Tegan leaves. I studied film and TV, folks.
Quiet now. Don't alarm it.
No, Jackie, no. It's almost like the 10th Doctor is like, what if the 5th Doctor didn't regenerate and just kept on going? Just got more seasons and got more pissed off and more egotistical and more angry. Add on top of the fact, like, the Time War stuff too.
It's going stronger.
Oh god, that's creepy.
Yeah.
It work? It takes time, excuse the colonel.
He's such a, like, anxious school teacher, isn't he? Guys, the 5th Doctor is a control freak. You fucking nerd.
I am triggered!
This is not how I planned this role play.
I think it's time we left this thing to die in peace.
This story has so much wit to it.
Oh my god. This might be the funniest Davison story, actually. It's definitely one of them. Although, I think Kinder is pretty funny, but it's a very different kind of funny. Oh, hello there. I love how, like, because they're doing a roleplay storyline, right? The Malice is, like, the CPU. It's like the AI producing the levels for you. You know? It's like producing the threats. It's like this, like, spawning different levels of enemies. Oh my god. Oh my god, did they actually?
How could that happen?
Rip.
Be important Sir George be dead.
Not if there's another way.
Ooh,
Ah.
that ties into...
Character.
Davison's channeling Troughton right now. Just like, it's evil! It must be destroyed! This has a bit of a Journey's End vibe when they all just rush into the TARDIS.
I was actually going to mention that as well. This is very Journey's End.
Does it have the power? Well, I'll have to keep Will here and level the church. Come along.
Everyone else going before...
Even the comedic tone is very Journey's End before this point.
So everyone going before me except Turlo. Oh yeah, model shot.
Wow.
That's 2 churches the Doctor Who has destroyed. Because the demons as well.
Oh, wow.
Doctor Who says, fuck religion. I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah.
Aren't you forgetting something?
Probably. It isn't unusual. I've had a very hard day.
You're outnumbered 7-1.
I'm being bullied. Coerced, forced against my will. I've had enough for one day.
What be tea?
Oh, a noxious infusion of oriental leaves containing a high percentage of toxic acid.
You fucking nerd.
Evil brew, don't it?
True. Personally, I rather like it.
Oh, wow. Now that was Doctor
What a
Who.
lovely little story.
I know! I know! That was Doctor Who! I really liked that a lot. By Christ, that was so much better than The King's Demons. Oh, I'm relieved. I'm so satisfied and relieved by that.
It's very quaint.
Oh yeah.
The one criticism I could probably give is that for a story that's where Tegan's like, I want to go visit my grandfather, they don't really spend much time together. But, you know, other than that.
Yeah. But I don't think, well, what would you have even done though? Like, it wouldn't actually be that interesting to show it, would it?
True. And I guess they were all like, at the end they were like, well, we didn't get to spend much time with him, let's go have tea instead. I was like, okay.
That was brilliant. I liked that so much. The concept, the characters, the themes, the acting, the characterization, like all of the side cast, especially Peter Davison, he was great. All the comedy was firing on all cylinders. The location filming was beautiful. It was so weird as well. Like, it was such an outside the box story, and it was lovely little two-parter. And this is it. This is it. Why the hell is this on this list? Why the hell is this considered one of the worst in Classic Who? My ass.
Who is it who hated it again? Was it Joey?
Joey. And I know Mason doesn't like it either. Neither does Dylan. I don't think Brian does either.
I'm just going to stare directly into the camera. Judging intensely.
That was fire. That was such a good story.
And I've always liked it. Like, unlike the Gunfighters, which I mentioned earlier, when I first watched it, I didn't like it, and then I started to like it. I've always liked The Awakening every time I've seen it, and I think this is my 5th time watching it. So,
yeah, and because I'm here, I got to unload all of like the depth of it to you.
Hell yeah, because
about storytelling.
Because I'm a rather surface level human who's just like, that good, I like it, and then you're just like,
Yeah.
but no, my themes.
And they just unfolded even more layers as they went on, because at the start I was thinking, oh, there's this faction of people that have role played to the point where they become toxic and they've gone too far, not only to abuse a woman and dress her in something she against her will, but also go to murder people. And then in the second part, they developed that there is actually a difference between all the different individuals in this club. And one of them goes insane because of the malice, and the other one realizes the difference and, thinks, no, this has to stop now. And then also, like, even though obviously Warriors of the Deep is really forced, I really like the way they tied that, there should have been another way into the dialogue in this episode as well. Instead of, outlining the Fifth Doctor's character for the season. And
Sorry, my phone's ringing in the background.
Okay. And I really liked the dynamic that Turlo and Tegan's granddad had. That was quite fun. I really like the scene in the prison where he's like, "We can get out here with a battering ram."
The story just has a star-studded cast. In fact, I think the cast is the strongest element about it. I think
Probably.
like all the characters.
Probably.
Will, Jane, Ben.
Yeah, the doctor's chemistry with Jane was awesome. Oh, it's just, that was such a good story. Why don't people like The Awakening? Well, what is it?
I don't know. They prefer the Deadly Assassin for some reason.
Okay, Will, you're not gonna win me over that one. You're not gonna win me with that.
I prefer this to the Deadly Assassin. Fight me, fanboys.
That is a hot take. But to be fair, they are very different kinds of stories. So I think.
Oh yeah, they are very different. So it's not like a fair comparison by any means. No. But
The Deadly Assassin's a lot more grim.
Yeah.
Serious than The Awakening. But yeah.
Though we were making a lot of comparisons between this and the demons. Honestly, I think I prefer this to the demons.
I do too, because I think the demons, whilst it has some very high highs, like the strengths of the demons are excellent. I do think that it has a little bit of trouble balancing tone, and there's a couple of lines that are a bit off. But the Awakening isn't like that. It actually does a brilliant job balancing the tone together. I would say that I think the demon, like the highlights of the demons, do go higher than the Awakening. Like the best parts are great, but then it's just there's a few little icky bits that I wish were different. I think it just comes down to like Barry Lett's very old timer writing style. Like
and there's not much Doctor Master interaction in that story at all, which is kind of a letdown.
That said, I do think Delgado's great in it, but he's great in everything.
Yeah,
so, and like the Hell Ring is great. But anyway, not talking about the demons. I thought this was a cracking little story. Such an interesting idea that I would have never thought of, and it's actually aged really well because the idea of role playing in the modern day has become even more extreme than it was then. Like there are people that like live and die by role playing, and they, especially in the virtual world, and it shows, that when you sink your teeth too hard into escapism, it can become your actual life, and you waste away your reality, and you can become really toxic and abusive, and it's really good. It's a really good story. It's got really good production values. It's got really good dialogue. It's got great acting. It's got a great score. It's got the Doctor's on fire. I do not understand why people don't like this one. This is brilliant.
Phenomenal characters. Just great. It's the Fifth Doctor TARDIS team at their best. This, not their best story, but like they're just on top form, like 5e and stuff. 5e and Tegan. And the Malice as a villain, it's quite creepy.
The thing is with the Malice is it's not really like a person. It's just it's more of an obstacle. It's like a challenge that throws things at you, which is very similar to what you get in a role-playing scenario, isn't it?
Yeah. God, the themes. The themes.
I know. Like if they were to ever do like an actual like legit, high budget Doctor Who video game, this is one I would definitely want. Like if they were to ever do Lego Doctor Who, not Dimensions, but an actual Lego Doctor Who game, I would love for the Awakening to be one of the levels. I feel like this would be such a good one to do for that, because it's got the whole video game thing going for it,
Quite metatextual that this story about giving up role-playing is in Peter Davison's last season.
Wow. Well, every single lead actor in this story would leave by the end of this season.
Yeah. God, the themes! I mean, I know we're probably reaching with that one,
Also,
but the themes!
Also, I'm glad that they deleted the chameleon scene, because that would have made the story worse than it is.
Yeah. Although it would have directly shown that the Malice animatronics are better than the chameleon animatronics.
Yeah.
But yeah, is there anything else to say? Good score, good direction, good characters, good acting, good pretty much everything.
This story is ranked.
Again,
listen, Will. I'm gonna make you very angry. This story is ranked below Let's Kill Hitler.
just that's all I have to say. Just sigh.
That is a disgusting take from the Doctor Who community in 2014. The Awakening less good than Let's Kill Hitler. That is appalling. Disagree.
I mean, that same poll put Paradise Towers lower than The Doctor, the Widow, and the Wardrobe.
Yeah, I think I think I hope that in the next poll people realize the error of their ways.
Yeah.
I mean, they put Asylum of the Daleks in the same level as like Midnight, and that's just an absolute disaster of an opinion.
Bad.
But yeah, Eric Pringle, one hit wonder. Why did Eric Pringle
come
not
back,
write
dude.
more Doctor Who? That was great. And honestly,
Come back, dude, if you're still alive.
And given the way that the story was done, he would be good for New Who's format, I reckon.
Yeah, it does give me New Who vibes.
Yeah, I wonder, is Eric Pringle still... Oh, he
I
died in
don't-
2017.
What a shame.
Damn. Oh, well.
But he did novelize the story, and the novelization's pretty good, so...
Oh, it literally says on his TARDIS wiki page that the idea of the sealed off village and the church exploding was from the demons.
Huh. Damn. I guess it's called
Oh wait, no, hang on.
a homage.
Sorry. My bad. It was claimed that, and then according to him, it was a coincidence. He'd never seen the story.
It's called homage when you do it better, so...
Or inspiration. Whereas when Chris
Yeah.
Chibnall does it, it's plagiarism. And when Moffat does it, it's derivative.
And when Russell does it, it's lemons!
Indeed. And the direction... Now, to be fair, I'm not surprised why the direction was so good, because it was by Michael Owen Morris, and he also did The Pirate Planet. That is another...
Was it only the...
That's another story.
Was it only those two?
Yeah, that's another story that has great direction and a lot of filming on location.
What a weird, like... that's such a weird, like...
I think there's one thing I
history
can say
time
about
of the
because
show.
obviously we're talking about the look of the story, and yeah, it was very good looking. But I think in terms of direction, there's more to it than that. I think something that Michael Owen Morris gets is he knows how to turn comedy from script to screen, like to get actors to do the comedy in the way the script wants them to. Because both The Pirate Planet and The Awakening both do that very well, like the comedic parts.
Yeah. Damn.
Brilliant job. I thought his direction was absolutely stellar. Like, considering that it was...
Are you reading...
It was literally in a small village, and that's all it was. I thought that his direction made the story so dynamic.
Are you reading the trivia section to get all this?
Well, no, I'm just going through the sort of thing I've got here. But, like...
Okay.
Yeah, like... In terms of direction, compared to the King's Demons, this was night and day.
Oh, yeah. Hell yeah.
Like, even the opening
It's quite
shots
an
where you,
intriguing
like,
story.
you know, he opened up with, like, seeing the horses' hooves hitting the ground on a tracking shot, you know, and building up to seeing the people. Like, it just... So much care went into it, and it's just so worth it.
Hell yeah.
And the music was by Peter Howell, and I thought his score was fantastic. I loved it. I mentioned it a few times throughout the story. His score just really complemented the story so well. Oh, I'm fanboying right now about The Awakening.
It's Bay. I don't even know what else I can say about it. I think it's just a pretty damn good story.
Absolutely. Would you like to move on to the trivia?
Okay.
Okay, so a scene involving Chameleon in a corridor in the TARDIS in Part 1 was filmed for the serial, but edited out before transmission due to the episode overrunning. It would have been the character's first appearance since the King's Demons, and the character would not appear again until Planet of Fire. So I haven't actually seen that deleted scene. Like, have you seen that deleted scene?
Yes, I have. There's not really much to it. He's just standing in a corridor and it's like, you creepy cunt. That's pretty much it.
Script editor Eric Saywood implemented several elements from his own story, The Visitation, such as the Tinclavic and the Raga, thereby making The Awakening a loose sequel to The Visitation. That's cool. I will say it did have a slight Visitation vibe to it, actually.
Yeah, it did name drop the pterodactyls, so...
That's cool. And also, it tying back to season 19 as well, like, you had the Doctor do the coin thing like he did in Kinder with Adric, and he still fucked it up. Will Chander was considered to be a new companion. But
Hell yeah!
But Eirich Saywood and J&T felt viewers might become tired of him.
Wrong. Wrong. He's a wholesome, cute boyo.
Compared to with his long odyssey to return Tegan to Heathrow Airport in the 80s, the Fifth Doctor is apparently much better at landing in her grandfather's village. Part 1 suggests that he got it right on the first go. Character development, guys.
Our boy Fivey.
The story also exists in the BBC archives as the 50-minute compilation repeat broadcast on Friday, 20th July 1984. It is unfortunate indeed that the compilation version was made and still exists on 625-line PAL color videotape to this day, as the master tape of Part 1 was accidentally badly scratched during a duplication session in 1987 and now is no longer broadcastable. No actual material has been lost. A completely new, undamaged master of Part 1 has been made using the still existing 16mm color film of the location sequences on the compilation repeat. Wow, so this could have been a missing episode. The Awakening Part 1.
Yeah, and what a shame, because the cinematography would have been a shame to lose.
Imagine the Awakening animation.
Hell yeah.
During the credits, each letter features a light blue outline in hollowed letters. The outline is presented inside as well. This series is the only one to use. Yeah, it had like a weird like purple texture to it. It was interesting.
Yeah, I noticed that.
It had like a stroke on it. This story shares similarities with the first serial of Sapphire and Steel in that images of the past are projected forwards by a malevolent force and are capable of interacting with the present.
Interesting.
This story was one of 2 considered for this slot. The other was The Darkness, which was also written by Eric Pringle. So there was another script written by Eric Pringle. And it would have featured the Daleks in the event The Awakening was chosen, because Eirich Saywood had already planned to do Resurrection of the Daleks. Wow.
They should adapt it for Big Finish Lost Stories.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I don't know if they have or not. I haven't looked into the
I mean, given the
Davison Lost Stories.
Given the quality of, The Awakening, I'd really be interested to listen to it. Wow, this is the first story since Black Orchid to not have a returning adversary, though the Terror Leptals are mentioned. That's crazy. I guess if you count that as somewhat of a return, that means that the Caves of Androzani is the one after that where there's no returning adversary.
I suppose so. It's the first one to not have a returning adversary since
Black Orchid.
Black Orchid. Huh.
Because Earthshock had the Sidemen, Time Flight had the Master, Season 20 completely had returning characters in every story, and then Warriors of the Deep was Silurians and Sea Devils. And then after The Awakening you had Resurrection, which was the Daleks, and Planet Fire, which was the Master.
Huh. Yeah. Davison era just went hardcore.
Well, not necessarily though, because every story from 4 to Doomsday to Black Orchid is new. So that is good. The first season had a lot of new stuff in it.
And then the Colin Baker era just doubled down on that. Hey, Cybermen, Santarans, Daleks.
Interesting. Eric Pringle was unhappy with Eirich Saywood's rewrites, believing that they made the story confusing and rushed. Huh. Oh,
it is a little bit speedy.
Oh, apparently the reason why is because it was originally written as a 4-parter and it was rushed into a 2-parter.
I wouldn't object to seeing a 4-part version of The Awakening, but extra footage probably doesn't exist.
Wow, there's a lot of actresses that you'll recognise that were considered for the role of Jane, including Pauline Collins, Judi Dench, Jean Marsh, Helen Mirren, Diana Rigg, and Penelope Wilton. They were all considered for that role.
Huh. Interesting.
Bloody Patrick Stewart was considered for the role of Ben Wolseley. Wonder how expensive that would have been. Bloody Terry Malloy was considered for the role of Joseph Willow. And Donald Sumter. Interesting. Jack Galloway
Weird.
claimed to be an experienced rider, but during one take he was quickly dumped by his horse into the drink. Oh yes, this was I did notice this. Peter Davison donned a slightly redesigned costume. So
Oh yeah, I much prefer his costume in this later stretch.
his jumper
of
was
this
given
era
a larger black
compared-
and red stripes along the top and bottom, and his trousers had thick orange and white stripes, and the green lining was added to his shirt collar. Yeah, it looks a lot more like. It looks a lot more like, because I don't think stylish is the word, but it's more it fits better. Like it looks like it's more together, more natural.
Yeah, it's more eye-catching.
Along with like the haircut that he had as well, I think, because in the end of season 20, his hair was getting pretty damn long.
And he has that same outfit for the rest of his era. So.
Apart from Planet of Fire, right? Because he slightly changes in it.
Oh yeah, because
Because of hot
he
weather.
wears he's in shirt sleeves in that one.
And although in Black Orchid he does wear a slightly different outfit. He wears that dressing gown. And the clown costume.
Hell yeah.
Rightio.
Is
Nope, there is not.
is that the end of the trivia?
Okay, well, give your conclusion and rating out of 10 for The Awakening.
It's got my themes and it's quite pleasant, and I just always have like a really fun time revisiting this one. It's a very comfy story, with some dark elements to it. My description just sounds very generic, doesn't it? Like you're the one who's good at this whole description thing, but I've always just found it a fun, good time. I don't understand why some people hate it. Because I'm just like, what the fuck? You nutters. I give it an 8.
Nice. Yeah, The Awakening was a fascinating story about role-playing and what can come of it, with some great comedy, great direction, fantastic cast, just firing on all cylinders. I had so much fun with this, and it was different, and it had a nasty element, but it didn't overpower the story. It was meaningful, but it wasn't grotesque like some of the other stories in the season. So it felt like a good breather before you got to the really hardcore stuff like Resurrection, for example, and Frontiers and Caves, to be fair. But I just, it was such a fun story, and I really have very little to criticize about it. I honestly would say the only small thing I would say is that I would have actually been interested to see what the 4-part version would have been like, to see if it would have been even better. But I guess, it wasn't to be. But as it is, fantastic. And I'm going to, honestly, what should I give it? What should I give it? I'm tossing up a bit here. I'm going to give The Awakening an 8.5 out of 10.
Huh, I thought you would give it even higher, honestly.
No, not quite. I think it's...
I thought you were going to be like, oh, it's a 9.5 or something.
No, it's not quite that level. I think maybe if it had been 4 parts, it could have ascended to that level, but as it is, I think 8.5 is its ceiling. I was thinking maybe 8, but then I remembered that because I would have given the Demons an 8, but then we had that discussion about how we both prefer this over the Demons, so I thought, you know what, I think I might as well give it a notch higher than it, because if I give it the same score, then I wouldn't be staying true to my opinions consistently. So 8.5 out of 10 for The Awakening, which is a pretty damn score considering that it's in the worst of Classic Who series when you think about it.
Joey, Dylan, other people.
Brian, Mason.
You nutters. Mason, you nutters.
Yeah, and I'm so glad that this was the second one we did, because it means I ended on a positive note rather than the King's Demons.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I mean, the next time you see me, we'll be watching Time in the Rani, so...
Oh, interesting. I wonder if that's as fun as this story.
It is not as good as The Awakening. I will concede that.
Right, we have one more thing to do, Will. And it's going to be something that I think you will find easier than I will, but I still think it is possible for me to do so. We have to
Okay.
defend a story against Hellbent. We will be defending The Curse of the Black Spot.
Okay.
I think you should take the floor, considering I think you like this story more than me.
I do like Curse of the Black Spot more than you and most people. I will concede it is not a good story. But when people say it's the worst of Series 6, I'm just like, no.
I used to think that, but not anymore.
Let's Kill Hitler's right there.
I think I'd say the Rebel Flesh, the Almost People, is the worst. Of
The
Series
Rebel
6.
Flesh is right there as well.
And
yeah.
I also think there's a lot of stories that I would say are like just as bad as it, like A Good Man Goes to War and The Wedding of River Song and Let's Go Hitler and Night Terrors, Matt. Night Terrors. And Closing Time. And yeah, there's a lot of shit in there.
I can't really say anything. I feel like I'm in kind of an awkward position here because anything I could say, I'm just going to get laughed at by the Capaldi stands who are like, ha! But Hellbent! It has, like, acting and themes and. I don't fucking know.
Whereas Curse of the Black Spot's just a pirate story about pirates.
But I do just find it more fun and interesting than Hellbent. Because Curse of the Black Spot is just...
Look, I think Steve Thompson is pretty shit. But, like, you know, it's not his worst script. I think his worst script is probably Journey to the Center of the TARDIS, although I'm not sure about that. I toss up between that one and this one. But I think that, and also the dialogue is dire, and I don't like I think the CPR stuff with Rory makes absolutely no sense, and it's so clearly a rip-off of Pirates of the Caribbean, but doesn't do any of the stuff I like about Pirates of the Caribbean. And then also, it's the start of, like, the Moffat era's thing of doing, like, a Hollywood movie in 45 minutes. This is the first one. This is the one that started it. And it is shit. Don't get me wrong. The Curse of the Black Spot, in my opinion, is trash. However, unlike Hellbent, the consequences of it being bad aren't as detrimental. They don't ruin the show. They're very self-contained, and it is cringe, but it's just, you can move on from it. Whereas Hellbent damages the show.
You're a straight... You're a homo... You're a heterosexual male. Is the siren hot?
The Siren.
Yeah.
Yes, but I think that I actually find Rainy Amy hotter than that.
Okay, well, does Hellbent have Rainy Amy in the siren? No.
It does have Jenna Coleman in a tight shirt. I will say that. But
Yeah, but so does Face the Raven, and
Yeah.
why would you go to Hellbent for that? Go to Face the Raven instead.
I do think that I do think Series 6 is Karen Gillan at her most attractive. Because in Series 5 she's a bit raw, and then in Series 7 she's over the top. Like, because in Series 7 she's become a fashion model and she's just caked, and it's like, ugh, what's going on here?
Yeah.
Whereas like Series 6 she's kind of got like, that's the one where she's got like the flannel shirt, and you know, she's got her hair down, and it's like...
Yeah, she looks better in Series 6. Curse of the Black Spot. I don't know what it is, but it's just like the fact that because again, I said this in our King's Demons reaction, but like I don't really care about the Doctor Clara at all, but also in Hellbent. Whereas in Curse of the Black Spot, I don't know. I at least care about.
I got a thing. I think the Curse of the Black Spot is mega cringe. However, here's the difference in terms of my judgment of like when I hear other people's takes. If I heard Thari say, oh, I like the Curse of the Black Spot. I think it's fun. I'd just be like, all right then, fine.
You'd be like, oh,
I'd be like,
and that's it.
I'd be like,
most.
I don't like it, but fair enough, I guess. Like, I wouldn't get angry at him and have an argument because he likes the Curse of the Black Spot. I'd just be like, I can sort of see why. It's got pirates and silly humor and whatnot.
Hellbent is more likely to be a source of tedious conversation.
Yeah, whereas I'm much more
find.
disagreeable with Hellbent. Like when people say they like Hellbent, I like stretch my fingers. I'm like, well, please elaborate. And then someone like Samuel Davis will give me a fucking essay about how it subverts Heaven Sent and makes it all about self-harm rather than hero's victory, and then bloody fucking Tempo is just be like, it's a masterpiece. If you understand French, you would understand why Hellbent's a masterpiece. And then lovely Adam Martin, sweet dear Adam Martin, says to me, well, I got a headcanon, mate, and I like it. Yeah.
Well,
I would be much more inclined to disagree and have big fights with you about Hellbent than Curse of the Black Spot.
Yeah, I'd rather just even if it's just something as simple as the discourse around Curse of the Black Spot is way less tedious than the discourse around Hellbent.
Well, it's a lot of it just comes down to like, I think it's cringe, you think it's fun. There we go.
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong.
I think
don't get me wrong. I do think the pre-title sequence is one of the worst ever. Like the yo ho ho bit is fucking awful.
But what about the Hellbent pre-titles?
Oh no! See, they're very different, aren't they? It's just like Curse of the Black Spot is just really silly, and like just really stupid.
But you could probably imagine a version of Curse of the Black Spot that, in fact, Curse of the Black Spot, like structurally, makes me think of the Stones of Blood. Because it's a horror story. There's a creepy lady, and then there's a hyperspace.
Yeah, but the problem is that the target audience, because the target audience is like Americans, it's really shitty and cringy.
Yeah.
I feel like if you could do a version of the Curse of the Black Spot, I think if it was in another era with like better writing, I think it could have been a much better story.
Yeah, and like I said, because it's kind of similar to the Stones of Blood, there is a better version of Curse of the Black Spot that exists.
Yeah. Oh yeah, if Curse of the Black Spot was a fourth Doctor story, it would probably be a banger, or like a John Pertwee story. It would probably be a banger.
Whereas Hellbent is just kind of.
Hellbent doesn't work in any era. It's utterly terrible.
And I just, it's just spending. At least with Curse of the Black Spot, you don't need fucking years of context of a shitty Doctor companion dynamic that doesn't bother explaining itself well.
The only thing you need to know is that Rory is a nurse. Even then, that shit doesn't make sense anyway.
Jesus.
But yeah, no.
That's about it.
They're both shit, but Curse of the Black Spot is less offensive. It's more harmless, but I think personally I hate watching it because it's cringe, but it's not as bad for the show. In fact, I would say there's probably a good bunch of people that watched it on BBC America and thought, yeah, man, that was fun. Do you see that last night? It was so quirky. That was a bit like Pirates of the Caribbean, but it's got a British man in it with a bow tie.
Well, Hellbent set the fandom on fire and made it a very toxic place.
Also, you'd probably like a bunch of fangirls. They're like, "Oh my god, Matt Smith, he's so hot and so quirky."
Yeah. Whereas with Hellbent, the reaction is either that was the fucking worst, or well, actually, I went to film school and I can point and I can objectively say that my opinion is more correct than you, and like, if you don't get it, then you're just a sad boy who should go watch Teletubbies or something.
Yeah, I'll go watch Teletubbies with John Sim and have a much better time.
If you can't understand the rich, deep, thematic concepts of consequences and grief, then you shouldn't be watching Doctor Who. You should be gone from my fandom. Be gone. That's the vibe that the Capaldi film critic type stands at. Yeah. That's all I have to say. I think we did a pretty poor job defending Curse the Black Spot against Hell Ben, but we tried.
We tried.
Participation
folks. We tried,
ribbon.
folks. But having said that, The Awakening, that was a lot of fun. That's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And I'm so looking forward. Now, I know technically I do have to go back and rewatch Five Doctors and Warriors of the Deep, but in the context of this video coming out, I'm so looking forward, after this beautiful comedy of a story, to dive right into the absolute despair and bleakness that is Frontier's resurrection, assumedly Plaid of Fire, because I haven't seen it, and the absolutely sensational and the story that's part of my channel name, Caves of Androzani.
Planet of Fire it doesn't fit with the same dark theme as those other three. It is more lighthearted.
Okay.
But that's mostly because I find ironic enjoyment in Perry's suffering.
Well, it's got Anthony Ainley in it, so hopefully it's better than The King's Demons.
It has Chameleon in it.
It's got Chameleon in it, and hopefully it's better than The King's Demons. That's my.
I mean, it is.
That is my standard for the rest of 80s Who. Hopefully, it is better than The King's Demons.
Hopefully, yeah. That was fun, and also fun, and
that was an absolute.
I'll see you next time.
That was an absolute breeze. Like it just. Oh, that was great. So.
See you next time for Time in the Rani.
Yes, well, see you next time for Time in the Rani, but they will see me next time for Planet of Fire on the Worst of Classic Who series. And I'm not actually 100% confirmed who I'm going to do it with. I think the three candidates I've got in mind at the moment are either Joey, Callum, or Matt. One of those three.
Okay, and one of them will call me out, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
If it's Joey, he'll be like, how dare you judge me for not liking The Awakening?
Well, actually, he's probably going to be more angry at me for liking bloody Terminus.
Oh, I mean, to be fair, that's fucking nutter. I'm talking to you there. You
Sorry.
fucking nutter.
Sorry, I didn't hear you.
I said, well, to be fair, you're a fucking nutter for thinking that.
But I have justified reasons, Will, and if you watch the video, you'll find them out.
No.
You refuse to be persuaded. You sound like a religious person.
Yeah. Like, there are some things I would rather let you convince me on the Space Pirates than Terminus.
You're only saying that because Daddy Troughton's in it.
Yeah, and Daddy Troughton is bae. But yeah, that's all. Bye, Connor's audience. I'm waving.
See you later.